Okay, so last time I did origami. This time I'm gonna make my own template using this trusty mercury drug paper bag I had lying around. So this time I'm trying to focus on these weird folds I see in the bottom of the bags where it seems like they just left these creases in. So I dismantled the bag so I could study and measure how those creases work and made my own measurements, um, how long each side was, how long each crease was, and even measure the triangles. I'm not gonna focus too much on it because spoiler alert, it didn't really matter in the end. Anyway, so I'm using a yellow paper because the material I'm just using is just normal paper, and a normal size A4 isn't big enough for my template, and I wanted to make it somewhat the same size. Well, supposedly same height, and then I forgot to factor in the width, but that's another spoiler alert. Anyway, so I got the measurements down on the yellow paper, my scratch paper, as you can see all the math equations there. Haha! Anyway, then I also line them up so it's easier to cut it with taking my time because I really love my accuracy as much as I love my iced tea. Anyway, so I'm folding the paper so it's easier to see where to cut. I'm really lazy with the scissor, as you can tell, so I'm just gonna do this technique where if you crease it enough, it's easy to cut with. But I think I abandoned that because doing that with yellow paper is hard as balls. So yeah, I'm just gonna get a scissor. So snip, snap, snap. Uh, but folding the paper along the lines of what I'm supposed to cut makes it easier for me to see in terms of whether or not I go over the line or under the line. And it wasn't my intention anyway to use a scissor, but well, the paper messed up if I tried to do it manually, so I have no complaints in using a scissor too much. Anyway, I got the actual size. Yay. This time I'm full measuring the actual length of the border of the thing. Then I realized, oh, one yellow paper isn't enough to make a paper bag. So I'm taking my real sweet time getting a second yellow paper. Also scratch because I'm conservative like that. Then I just do the same process to the same paper. Okay, so I got two papers, same height, not the same width or breadth. I always say width, but it doesn't matter. In the end, next I have to get my trusty old tape and tape these things together. I didn't really care too much about the position of the tape, or how it looks when the thing is done, because I'm just testing the overall technique and whether or not my template is correct or not. The whole process is just me in suspense whether or not everything is working. So I'm carefully lining up my papers together because that precision though, and I'm using clear tape instead of masking tape. Even though masking tape would probably help better with folding it, but I was just working with what I have at the moment, and I didn't have time to scour my supplies and look for masking tape. I just saw this normal scotch tape and went with it. Next, I do this cool thing where I tape half of the thing into the paper sticking out so I can fold the paper back to back and then fold the tape into the paper. Oh, it's so smart. Well, not too much because if I'm not too careful, there's gonna be a huge gap between the papers, and it's going to be so unequal. But it turns out pretty okay. Um, there's a lot of openings though. in the paper, but I'm not gonna worry too much about that later. Next, here's me measuring the stupid borders up to its size. There's the ruler as well. Um, okay, here's the truth. Even though ultimately the size of the borders don't matter, they help with consistency. And if you make up your own measurements and then they're in some kind of a ratio to one another, I'm pretty sure it can work. But since my overall point of making a paper bag is to not appreciate it as much, saying how simple it is, I don't want to delve too much into the studies of a paper bag, how to fold paper bags 101, so I'm just winging it half the time. So I got the size of the borders and then lining it up together so I know where the creases are when I make the shape of the bag. This is essentially the wall of the bag and how uh, how wide it's going to be when I stretch the paper from each other. It will make sense. It will make sense. Hopefully, probably, usually. Then I'm trying my best not to make a crease in the middle of the paper. I use the same mark. I just line up the markings to the other side because I wanted to cheat so bad. But I got scared, thinking, oh wait, what if it's not equal? So I just measured it again anyway, normally as I would with a ruler. That that extra process was unnecessary. There, I got the walls down. It's like a normal box, but it's still flattened out. Next is the triangle folds that forms the floor of the thing. There's two parts of the paper bag I noticed. One is the tall part of the wall, second is the small back of the wall. That makes no sense. It's hard to explain. Basically, there's when you fold the paper bag into half, right? There's this weird little floor it makes out of a triangle. Yeah. Well, it turns out that little floor of a triangle is part of the creases of the floor, the bag, the base floor. I think it's just gonna make better sense later. But yeah, here. I marked it with a pencil, and I'm just gonna let the video speak for itself. Um, I did not explain it properly. Basically, when I disassembled the mercury drug paper, I studied its fold, its creases, how it lines up with one another, how it forms a shape, and applying that to my yellow paper. So I was able to distinct the floor, the small floor that was really confusing to describe, and the overall wall. Now, here's me just trying to make the triangles. I keep bringing up triangles, and I bet that's so confusing. It's a paper bag. What triangles are there? Well, if you can, get out your normal shopping bag, look at the bottom of it, and see, oh, yeah, there's one small triangle and one big triangle, and the big triangles on the outside, and the small triangles on the inside of the bag. Well, when uh, when you fold the walls up to each other, it just sort of lines up miraculously. It's a sort of magic to paper bags I can't comprehend. I'm not supposed to comprehend it in the first place because I'm supposed to find this boring. But as you can see, for 30 seconds, I've been giving up because I just realized, oh, the measurements don't align because the paper's not the same width. So obviously, it's not gonna be the same. So I abandoned all measurements I had and just winged it. Like I haven't been winging it for the past 15 minutes. Oh gosh, this was 30 minutes. This took 30 minutes. So, um, I'm just praying basically that's gonna all work out. I'm trying not to go back too much in terms of time management. I'm just gonna hope that it works. Anyway, back to the triangle explanation. Basically, one side of the bag, there's a crease for the triangle shape, but it has a different size than the other side of the bag. So right now, I'm just closing the empty spaces that I forgot to close a while ago, so that when I do expand this paper, it makes a solid wall, so sort of a solid wall. Trying to make it look like it's not two papers just taped together. Well, I think it would look better if the tape was inside the paper. I didn't think that through. I think it's it sort of doesn't matter because again, I'm just testing out the technique in the meantime. Man, even though the origami paper looks ugly as heck, it's way easier than this. It goes to show that more effort makes it more better. That's not grammar. Anyway, here's me testing out the creases and see if they work. Very suspenseful time lapse right here. Okay, well, here's the confusing part. It's the triangles again. And then you can see me picking up the paper bag and trying to study it thoroughly because it's confusing. And while I was folding the triangles, I forgot which side of the bag had this fold and then which side of the bag had this fold. Because since the papers were taped together, both folds showed up on both sides. So I'm like confused. Like, wait, what side does this belong to again? So to avoid confusion, I just um, refolded the triangles again and get a pencil to mark it. Anyway, so I keep I keep saying triangles. It's just an easy way to describe it. They're they are basically trapezoids in a way with a flat top, and I'm just saying triangles because I'm treating the folds like a triangle basically. Again, not an origami expert, as you can clearly tell from me suffering folding in the creases, but I'm just trying my best as an amateur here and praying so badly that this template works. But you see, I'm very excited. The time lapse doesn't show, but I was air pumping really badly. So there's the floor, almost done. I'm just tucking in the triangles so they can close the hole carefully. Tucking it in carefully because this is a yellow paper and it's very fragile. So if I push it too hard, it I might accidentally crumple it and crush the paper, and then I'm going to cry. But there, see, there's the bag. Um, I'm just taping it in the inside so it can actually stay close. But there, it works. Yay, it works. Yeah, it took so long, and there was a moment of time where when I realized I didn't have the same width, I thought it's not going to work. So I didn't stress too much of the measurements anymore. This is the normal kind of paper bag, the brown paper bags you use for like errands and stuff. And here I'm trying to fold it as as a closed bag, seeing if it works. And it does. It works. Oh, I'm so happy. You can't hear me, but I was I was crying tears of joy in the video. Anyway, that's my template into use.